as we try to figure out what the heck happened to JD.
What the hell happened to JD?
No, Elon. What happened to Elon? We get some insight into what did happen to Elon, because he went from last week saying impeach Trump, he's terrible, he's not released the Epstein files because he's in the most, that's the most, right? That's the top tier angry. And then today posted, I regret some of my posts about President Trump last week. They went too far. He does say some, which I would like to know which ones he means, but he deleted the most aggressive ones. And that was kind of where we were. Did Trump threaten him into submission? What happened? And the New York Times has a report out. Musk spoke to Trump privately before posting message of regret. And I have a little something for you in a second that I think just might make your day. But President Trump received a phone call from Elon Musk late on Monday night, which led to a public expression of regret from the billionaire early Wednesday for the attacks he had lodged against the president in their extraordinary public showdown last week, according to 3 people briefed on the call. So this followed Elon already having phone calls with JD Vance and Susie Wiles, and he was wanting to resolve, which reading about this, it's just very mind spinning, because you think you have a big fallout with a friend and you accuse them of being a pedo, right? However, you know what I'm talking about. And you say, and you try to link them to the most, because of a friendship that was there, most notorious sex criminals. And then you think maybe 5 years later, you go, I would really like to reconcile with that person. Not 2 seconds later, you go, never mind. And then they talked about this whole process. Mr. Musk started wanting to reconcile with Trump. How impulsive are you? You just said the stuff. You're already backing off of it. So they talked on the phone and not much details coming out about that. But supposedly it convinced Elon to post that regretful post. And we have obtained exclusively the actual FaceTime call. Take a look.
Hi, it's Elon.
Say what you need to say. I'm about to kill a puppy. It's a pastime.
I heard that interview you did. She said, I see you as a father. I do.
Oh, wait, before we watch the rest of this, obviously this is AI. Everyone, that's not a real video. But for context of the dad reference, I think this is what Elon saw. Oh, wait, let me unmute it. That would help.
Yes, they had a little bit of a shouting match. But
Did you hear it?
That's typical. I heard a little bit. That's sort of typical about,
Yeah.
that happens.
You were very kind to him. I saw you together, and I think he treated you a bit like a father. And
I was disappointed.
yeah.
Even Trump's like, all right, let's calm down. Like a father. And that is where this FaceTime call comes in. Let's take a listen.
Hi, it's Elon.
Say what you need to say. I'm about to kill a puppy. It's a pastime.
I heard that interview you did. She said, I see you as a father. I do.
I know. Am your dad.
I don't care about all the Epstein stuff. I want my dad back.
You broke my heart, and that's impressive, given I didn't think I had one.
You have the heart of a pregnant whale. It's huge. People don't get that.
Okay, I forgive you, but remember, I will destroy your life if you ever do that again.
Are you really my dad?
Bye.
Oh gosh, that's so funny. So I guess that's what helped them reconcile. Good stuff. Now you heard a reference to in that interview as well, the physical confrontation that much was made of, and Bannon, despite them now reconciling, which again, before we get to Bannon, number one, please do click the subscribe button. I saw somebody say, sorry, I can't subscribe because of financial issues, and totally understand not being able to give any financial support. That's totally fine. Just to clarify, subscribing on YouTube is free, and you just click the button and it just suggests more videos. And we just had, actually, if you'll take that down, Jade, we just had, sorry, just see some housekeeping. Someone send in a comment, if I could get it pulled up here, where they said this. I don't know if I'm being paranoid, but I've been following you for a while now. I realized that I hadn't seen any of your content recently, so I looked for your page to realize I'd been unsubscribed. I know these sites are leaning right, and if this is a way of quietly minimizing the reach of left-wing content creators, I thought I should let you know, should you wish to investigate further. I have mostly very positive things to say about YouTube, so I don't think there's suppression going on in that sense. But we do hear that sometimes people are subscribed and then it gets unsubscribed magically without them unsubscribing, or they're subscribed and then YouTube just stops suggesting the video. So obviously, if you do appreciate the show, making sure you are, and then making sure you check it. I won't disappear. I'll tell you if the show ends, which probably won't happen for a very long time. But I kind of like this whole thing. And so if you stop seeing me, but you wanted to, then just check the channel. I'll be there. Now on to Bannon. He does not want Trump to just completely give up. He's calling for investigations. And what's annoying is this was the other thing I was going to say, even the good things we get in this miserable life politically are bad. So we got a tiny little glimpse of something that made us happy, which was Elon and Trump going at it. As that right-winger said, two high-value males going at it hard. So hard. And it was fun. We got something finally out of this miserable experience of the Trump administration. And then they reconcile after a week. Like, of course, that's our luck. That's our luck, is for Elon to somehow figure out a way to be friends with Trump again after he says or alludes to Trump being a pedo. Of course, that's what we get. We can't even have 2 weeks of this. It has to end in a week. Come on. Here's Bannon.
That's a long way from gone. You think he can work his way back into the circle within reason?
No, I do not. But that doesn't mean, look,
He's going to try, though.
I think that couple of stories breaking today. Number one, that already the Pentagon and other people are looking for a replacement for SpaceX. Because I make the case, if 90% of SpaceX's, first of all, what he tweeted out the other day about the Dragon program, and they say this in the story, if Lockheed Martin or any CEO had done that the board would immediately fired him, right? And they would go into the Pentagon and space saying,
it's not lost on me that Musk ratcheted that threat back pretty quickly.
Immediately. Yeah. But it's still, you can't have something like that. 90%, I think it's 90% of SpaceX's revenues come from the government contracts, okay? They just did a financing, we find out, at a $318 billion valuation. I think that he owns 50%, so he's made $100 to $150 billion in net worth on government contracts. Why do we not have warrants or options, huge packages for the American taxpayer as part of that? I'm actually for, and I realize I always take a maximalist position. I think we ought to go in and say to the new management, we're going to nationalize SpaceX because it's a government entity anyway with 90% of the revenues.
Well, it can't function without NASA. NASA can't function without it.
Exactly. Right. This is my point. And ongoing, and the program
Trump is doing retribution to everybody. He's retributioning everybody who he doesn't like. And it's not moral, thus I oppose it on principle, for him to go and try to make Elon's life through Trump's governmental power a living hell just because Elon said something negative about him, right? That would be the type of targeting through government power that he's doing to other people. So we don't want that on principle. And also, oh my gosh, I was so excited. I wanted it. I don't want it, but I wanted it so bad. Because he's doing... I started hearing talk like this. Oh, we're going to go after nationalize SpaceX, go after its contracts, rah, and thought finally we'll get something for us, right? Sometimes you need something for you, for your heart, me time. And this was going to be for me and for you. And then looks like it's not going to happen. But at least, I guess, what does someone describe Bannon as like the spirit animal of MAGA? He's very influential in MAGA. Not to say animal, but spirit animal, not, you know what I'm saying. Are there some animalistic characteristics of him? No. What? No. But he's still calling for stuff.
He was talking about cutting his $100 billion program to save the astronauts. This is across the board. We just find out now that Starlink has completely rewired the White House to put Starlink in, and maybe even some of the White House personnel. So who knows? I think my point is, let's everybody step back, take a deep breath. I think there has to be formal investigations. I think there has to be formal investigations.
Where do these investigations come from? Is it IGs or
I think
we don't have IGs right now.
I think it has to be, the best way to do it is a special.
The pins, if you're concerned, are there. Always. Always. This is how you should think of your life. Be as consistent in your health, in your workout routine, in your kindness. Be as consistent in those things as Bannon is with pins being strapped to his shirt.
Council that can kind of oversee everything. Pull the security clearance for the drugs temporarily. Investigate the whole drug situation.
By the way, he never would have passed a security clearance as just a mid-level staffer.
Zero.
Given what the drug use that was on the record.
Zero. When he laid hands on Scott Besson, as you know,
you were the narrator of the story for the Post. I noticed they hung it on you. They don't, which tells me they didn't have it from anybody else.
Well, I think it was broke somewhere else first. Actually, it was somewhere. I'm just reaffirming.
Okay.
As a total side note, I get that we have to hear from, especially when Bannon's going to trash Elon and sort of like, come on, talk about it. But what is this having tea and crumpets with Bannon thing? Like, what are we doing? I sat down for a cup of tea in a cafe with Steve Bannon, who's actually a really nice guy, despite his authoritarianism. That whole aesthetic is bizarre. And obviously, Bannon's opposition to Elon has been present for a while, but we talked about this little quote from Elon on social media calling Bannon, I'll just say naughty words, mean words, potty words, and communist. So that's weird. Communist Bannon. But it is a correct point from Stephen K. Bannon that Elon never would have been able to get security clearance in a different world. He never would have been allowed to get access with all of his issues and conflicts of interest and drug stuff. And the fact that this is what drives me loco, like the whales, is that no one ever pins that on Trump. So now they're fine saying, yeah, Elon seems a little unhinged. Oh, yeah, maybe it wasn't the best thing to give the keys to the government to a guy who now it seems pretty clearly was, it doesn't just matter about the drugs. That can contribute, but he also just as a person is not stable. And they go, Elon, and obviously before they reconcile, they go, oh, Elon's bad for all that, and he's unstable. But someone like Bannon never then goes, and Trump's judgment in giving him the government for a few weeks just to test drive like a Tesla,
I love Tesla.
maybe wasn't the wisest choice ever. Maybe Trump has bad judgment, but it's never that. Oh yeah, why aren't the Epstein files being released? Bondi, you suck. Kash Patel, you suck. Trump, right? Trump? No, he's fighting the fight. Same thing this. Oh yeah, Elon, what is he doing in the government? What the heck? Oh, why we give him all that power? Oh, Palantir or something. Trump, the president, right? He picked him. Trump's fighting the good fight. He never has accountability in their minds. Bizarre. Tell me what you think in the comments.